Over the last few weeks, the founders and leaders of the XRP army, of Ripple for that matter, have been quietly, not actually quietly, have been walking back their statements and have been basically tempering expectations around unreasonable price targets, crazy moonshot conspiracy theories, as well as the $10,000 XRP conspiracy theories within the government, as well as the timelines associated with Ripple, with new information coming out this morning at Consensus from Brad Garlinghouse. I want to make sure we play all of the information so you have the full context, because all that's really circulating right now is a 10-second clip that takes one piece of information out of context. So right now, the XRP army is really, really divided. A lot of people think that they were taken advantage of and feel like that the company is walking back on them after they've funded XRP. And the other side of it sees this for what I believe what it is. I'll tell you my stance right up front. A lot of people see this for what I believe what it is, as the maturation or the maturity growing of Ripple in the space and of the XRP community in the space as we move forward towards clarity, towards tokenization, towards these pilots rolling out with the DTCC. I personally never believed XRP was going to skyrocket to a high price. I got asked about it daily. I thought this was going to be a long view play over the next 5 to 10 years. But we also have to address something else, because David Schwartz also came out in another interview and dropped a bomb on the community, again, catching a lot of people off guard in regards to his token holdings. So I want to talk about that in the full context of what it means. So two major pieces of information, one from Brad Garlinghouse and one from David Schwartz in regards to XRP and specifically token price. So make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you engage in the chat. I have a feeling this is going to be another hot one. This is an emotional topic. It is charged. We're going to start with a video. This is the interview with Brad Garlinghouse at Consensus. It's a 10-minute video. Hang with me, but I want you to understand the full context of what was discussed, not a 10-second clip. Let's hop into it. Make sure you hit that like button. Here we go.
Back to our program, we are bringing you the best of Consensus Miami, brought to you by MoonPay. Our next guest spent 4 years fighting the SEC and emerged with a landmark ruling for XRP. He then turned around and spent $4 billion rebuilding Ripple into a global payments powerhouse. Please welcome Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse. Brad, how's it going?
Good to be here. Good. A lot of stuff to talk about. It's a busy day. Let's get into it.
It is a busy day. Bitcoin up above $80,000.
It's awesome.
A lot of stories breaking throughout Consensus and overnight. I mean, what are you watching as we get the day started?
I mean, I thought there were a couple big headlines overnight. I say this, the bullish deal, obviously the biggest crypto deal ever. I think is also an amazing example, I think not dissimilar to some of the acquisitions Ripple has made, of traditional finance bridging to DeFi crypto, where Equinity, I think, had zero activity around all things crypto, tokenization, real world assets, and now being partnered with Bullish. I think it's a big unlock for both companies, and not surprisingly, the stock's way up on the news.
Brad, there's almost no one better to talk about this. When we come to tokenization, we're here, the institutions are here, you guys are here, you've done a lot of the legwork to get these folks here. How does it feel to sort of see, even with the bullish deal, that tokenization is the topic people are talking about?
Yeah. I'll tell you, I mean, you've obviously been around the block also, and been around and seen this, and to see how far we have come, I guess around the block, pun intended in this case, but it does feel a little bit like a magical moment. I am glad to see Bitcoin back over 80. It's surprising to me that the market has been kind of in the doldrums, despite a lot of things lining up for what I think is likely to be a nice set of things where crypto in general is more useful, even your previous guest, more leverageable from a collateral point of view. And that's true of lots of different institutional players, and I think that's certainly true of what we're doing at Ripple. The acquisitions you mentioned earlier, both with a company, Hidden Road, the prime brokerage business, making XRP good collateral across lots of different institutional platforms, is a big deal.
one of the other big headlines that came out last night, we spoke about it with Arthur Hayes this morning, is Coinbase having around 14% layoffs. Curious how you're watching that and what that indicates for people who are working in this industry and the broader macro environment.
I have two thoughts on this. I mean, one is I have said for, I don't know, maybe a decade, we can't just focus on speculation as a use case for crypto. And what I think you're seeing is, we're in a relatively speaking bear market, and so, Coinbase is very reactive to what's going on, and, Kraken, not surprisingly, has delayed their IPO purportedly. Not surprising those things have happened when you're so dependent on a consumer speculation use case. The only thing I would say, which maybe is a little bit controversial, part of what Brian Armstrong said publicly was about how AI is a factor in those layoffs. For Ripple, yes, we are employing and using AI across everything we do to accelerate growth. The addressable market, the growth opportunity is so big, we're not thinking about AI as a tool to reduce headcount. We're thinking about it as an unlock and enabler to go after more products, more customers faster. And I think we're at a stage of the crypto market that it's just an accelerant, not a, hey, we can save money over here. I mean, if you're a public company, maybe you have some different levers you got to think about. Ripple has the advantage of being private.
Well, it's not only Brian Armstrong who said that. I think we've heard that from the CEOs kind of pretty much across the board.
That's a cover story.
What do you think's going to happen given your perspective, right? Companies are laying off because they feel like AI is going to improve productivity, allow them to reduce headcount. Do you think they're going to have to make a reversal sometime in the future?
I don't know if they'll make a reversal. I just think that some of these, I literally think it's a bit of a travesty for AI. And it's like painting AI as the boogeyman, and this is bad. And it's like every time we've seen new technologies come along, I just heard an interesting stat actually. When the automated teller machine, you may be too young for this, when the automated teller machine came out, people said bank tellers are going to lose their jobs. 10 years later, there's twice as many bank tellers. And what the ATM allowed them to do is do more interesting things and cross-sell other products. And so I view AI as an unlock, and I think the companies that are hanging, frankly, maybe sometimes bad management on hey, this is because of AI, I think it's unfortunate. AI is an unlock. For a growth industry like digital assets, like blockchain infrastructure, it's an unlock to accelerate what we're doing to get more adoption faster. And I'm sure even what we've seen with bullish Equinity, what Ripple's doing around Ripple Treasury, bringing old school traditional finance, non-digital asset native onto chain is accelerated by things like AI.
And it sounds like, Brad, what I'm hearing from you is you're saying, hey, I spent years building this top team, and now I just want to turn them into superheroes. I want to give them a superpower that says anything you could have imagined you can make happen. How are you applying that in a practical way across the company?
Well, look, we have definitely engaged in kind of all aspects. Team finance is looking at, how do we automate more activity so that we can unlock those people to do higher order bit things across marketing, more creative attribution. And then, of course, our core code writing is now, I think that the stat was around 75% is enabled one way or another or written by AI. Now, should that be more than 75%? We'll see how things progress, but we're definitely engaging fully, even getting smarter about which kind of targets we go after across our products. It's been an unlock, but again, not to how do we exit headcount, it's just to accelerate our adoption.
I want to talk about regulation for a second. I think, you've been through it with the regulators, come out on top. We now have clarity we're waiting for in the United States. Some progress has been made there. It feels like there is some movement. I got to get your perspective here. Yeah. Is it possible before midterms? There's a lot of optimism in the industry, but as time moves on, I will bring the pessimistic perspective.
Like, I have been pretty optimistic throughout. Sometimes difficult. My own, concern about is this going to happen? I think we have seen a lot of. I don't think people can. It's been a big positive shift in the last week. Getting Senator Tillis on board and kind of getting not yet scheduled, but likely a markup for either next week or the week after, the week of May 11th or May 18th. And I think if we get it out of committee, the likelihood that we get bipartisan support and get 60 votes on the Senate floor, I think, is very high. So I've consistently, I think, been the optimist around this, and so far I'm feeling more right than, despite people who thought maybe I was wrong. We'll see. We still got time. I agree with you, it's not there yet, but I'm pretty optimistic now.
All right, Brad, I'm going to go on the main stage in a few minutes to talk with Kraken and MasterCard about really the brand that is crypto. I feel crypto itself as a brand has gone through a lot of ups and downs. Ripple as a brand is one that, to me, defies logic only because you have such a loyal fan base. The sort of XRP army online is so strong. Tell me about how you thought about building that and just the sort of the idea of all these people coming along this journey with you. What does that feel like?
Yeah. Well, I'll start by saying I remember the first time I went to Davos, I ran into a central banker from another country, and I'd met with him previously, and he's like, I'm surprised you're here. Here, crypto's still a bad word. Now, that was about 7 years ago, and I think we have come as an industry a very long way where, crypto's no longer a bad word. But on the topic of the XRP army, look, one of the greatest things about crypto in general is the community behind it, the people who see the opportunity for rewiring financial infrastructure using technologies that reduce cost, improve speed. Like, these are unlocks. Like, the XRP army has been an unbelievable supportive group, allies, and I have also said to that community and to the entire crypto community, tribalism is bad for our industry. I've never been an XRP maxi, and people who are out there kind of just, it's not going to be a one-chain world. It's going to be a multi-chain world. I want to see Bitcoin be successful. I love what's going on in the XRP ecosystem. I was in Vegas last week at XRP Las Vegas, and it was the most vibrant, the most active that community has ever been. It was really spectacular.
And it does feel like
we don't want tribalism, echoing exactly what David Schwartz said yesterday. But is this a big deal? Is it being blown out of proportion or not? I tend to think that it is, especially given this entire conversation. And honestly, looking at how things have played out over the last several weeks, it's been more of kind of like a shift towards institutional XRP and tempering expectations, at least I feel like. But he also had another piece on the main stage, and I wanted to bring this up. It's not talking about this narrative as far as walking back XRP and the founders saying bad things, but it does give you insight as far as the timeline of the G Treasury piece I wanted to bring up as well for my XRP holders. So let me get out of this screen and pull up the correct video here. This one's only a few minutes long, and then that's all of the videos. I won't do any more. Let me find this correct video I can pull up for you real quick, so you can get the rest of the news that came out of consensus other than the other piece.
To take the federal government to court and win a final decision. Did anybody see the Knicks beat the Hawks in Game 6? They beat them by like 60 points. That's the kind of ass kicking we're talking about that Ripple gave the SEC, and that was I
appreciate that. Thank you. It needed to happen.
And it needed to happen. I won't say more. I'll tell you what I said on my investor call, and I'm curious to get your reaction to it. I'm close to what's going on in Washington as well, and I do think this stablecoin yield portion of the bill was quite important. There's been a compromise that's been reached. I don't love it. I'm sure the big banks don't love it. That probably means it landed in a relatively okay place. But I get the sense our brothers and sisters in the digital asset space are continuing to actively fight almost against this bill just because they can't rally around and say, okay, now's the time, let's get it done, let's finalize the DeFi language, let's finalize the ethics language. And I think it's time as an industry we kind of shut the hell up in terms of fighting against this bill, and we say, okay, it's time to move, call our local senator and get this done. I'm curious what your reaction is.
Tom, you and I are in violent agreement on this. In January, I tweeted out something to the effect of, perfection is the enemy of progress. I agree with you. Do I think the Clarity Act as drafted, it's moved a little bit since January, but do I think it's perfect? Hell no. I challenge you to show me any piece of legislation that we would call perfect. And there's trade-offs and compromises, but I do think clarity is better than chaos. And we have been living, particularly with a not well-intended SEC under Gary Gensler, we've been living with chaos, where it's just, regulation through enforcement, and you didn't know where they were going to focus their enforcement battle. And as you already pointed out, taking on the federal government, you have an unlimited budget of the federal government to come after you, and a lot of players other than Ripple would have folded. In fact, a story that I don't think is well told is one of the key strategic mistakes the SEC made was picking on Ripple, because we were strong enough to stand up to them. It still took some cojones to do that, but I think they made a bad strategic decision as opposed to building more case law, going after weaker players and getting them to fold, capitulate.
So, Brad, you have built a company that's very innovative and growthy, and you've used inorganic growth, so-called inorganic growth, M&A, to build your portfolio. We too, in our own smaller, more humble way, but exciting way.
By the way, it's not smaller. The largest digital asset acquisition ever is the deal you announced overnight.
That one was bigger. That was bigger, yeah. Yeah, thanks for. That's
why I feel like I should be interviewing you today. Yeah, this is your day.
No, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And I've loved your acquisition strategy. I'll just say it unabashed, in part because I know the protagonist. I know you and respect you and consider you a friend, but so too Mark Ash of Ripple Prime, so too Renat Variki, who's, depending on the day, one of my best friends, or the most annoying people in the world to me. We grew up together. But I love it. Can you just give us, I have a couple particular questions. Can you give us a high level? How is the acquisition strategy doing for you?
Yeah. Look, I think Ripple, and I would say now Bullish, has taken a bit of a contrarian view relative to some crypto companies in their acquisition strategy. And I think a lot of crypto companies are buying other crypto companies and saying intra-echo chamber. And I think what I've seen Bullish do, and certainly what Ripple has done, is say we're going to go outside the echo chamber and accelerate bringing those non-digital asset native companies on chain. And as you know well, and I'll use Ripple Treasury, formerly G Treasury, as the primary example here. They processed or orchestrated about $13 trillion of payments last year.
13 trillion. I had to ask Brad, I said, I want to make sure I heard that right. It's not really 13 trillion of payments.
Now, what's interesting to me isn't just it's a massive number and that's the opportunity. It's that 0% of those payments went through a stable coin or through a digital asset last year. The opportunity is bringing that over time. And again, the last thing we want to do is for those customers, the American airlines of the world. I mean, these are big, ranging from Fortune 50 to mid-sized companies who are benefiting from a dashboard to manage their liquidity, to manage all of the interactions with bank accounts around the world. That's a great business that's growing, but it is bringing them along the journey gently. So, okay, your American Airlines making a fuel payment into the Peruvian sol. Okay, today that's going to take you 4 days and it's going to cost you this much because there's only one correspondent bank that'll enable that. Tomorrow it's like, oh, we could just, in a UI, in the interface of G Treasury, now Ripple Treasury, presenting, hey, we can do that in real time at this cost, and having a treasurer who's managing that payment make that trade-off. And it's going to be crawl, then walk, and then run. And those 13 trillion, I'll go out on a limb and say 5 years from now, I'll say 30% of that in 5 years will be on chain in some way. And I think that is the opportunity. I think it's also the opportunity of equinity. I think the powerfulness of accelerating adoption by buying the largest, transfer agent out there in terms of real world assets, bringing things on.
Okay. So he's talking about someone else's acquisition there, but I wanted you to get that piece as far as the expectations of how quickly things are going to develop on chain. Remember, this is a company that they own. Ripple Prime, right? Company, or Ripple Treasury. Company that they own. They're telling you it's going to take 5 years to get to 30% just because these customers take a long time to bring along. This is something we heard Yuval talk about during the interview with Yuval Ruse in regards to the private subnet burns moving on CC. It takes time. These large customers, you can't run them off. You can't scare them. They are easily scared. And then if you come up as incompetent, you will never get that back. Now it's time to move on to David Schwartz and his comments, because he does have comments in regards to this. I'm going to pull this up here and then I'm going to get into the slides here. So Ripple's CTO trims XRP exposure, chooses stability over upside. David Schwartz, Ripple CTO Emeritus, has publicly admitted he holds little XRP, saying he has moved most of his assets away from crypto exposure. Speaking candidly, he acknowledged this could mean missing what he called once a generational wealth opportunity. Schwartz said peace of mind outweighs potential windfall gains for him personally. He added that his Ripple stock provides enough exposure to the company's fortunes. I sleep better at night that way, he said, describing himself as a sensible investor rather than a diamond hands holder. So, the former CTO himself is coming out and stating that he holds very, very little XRP. So the first question I asked myself when I saw this statement was, how much XRP did he start with as the CTO of Ripple? How much was he given from Ripple as this whole thing set up? And the answer was 0. David Schwartz took 0 XRP he elected for company stocks, as he stated in his interview. He sold Bitcoin and bought XRP at 10 cents. At his peak, he had roughly 26 million XRP. However, since then, he has sold it down to less than 1 million XRP. So now a lot of people are concerned if the CTO himself doesn't want to hold the token. The person who created the blockchain doesn't want to hold the token. He'd rather hold Ripple shares. What does that mean to the rest of the XRP community? Does it mean anything to the rest of the XRP community? That is the question. Moving on, what is the timeline? It's not this statement alone, but over the last several weeks, starting back at the end of April, he has been walking back, or not walking back, excuse me, but tempering, actively discussing and ramping up these so-called conspiracy theories hovering around the XRP community. And on April 23rd, he dismantles government conspiracy theories, that most so-called conspiracies are inaccurate. On May 1st, he comes out and says there's no magic switch to flip for XRP. On May 2nd, he becomes more realistic about adoption. Adoption takes time. We're building real infrastructure. Again, tempering the XRP community. And then yesterday on May 4th, he announced his statement that he had sold most of his XRP. May 19th of last year, stating he focused on Ripple's mission and the future. Again, don't know where that came from. AI must have pulled the wrong stat. But nonetheless, the holdings reveal yesterday said he sold a vast majority of his XRP years ago. Now, key point. There is no conspiracy. There is no secret plan. There is no magic switch. All of these statements released by David Schwartz in April and May. That being said, comes out after, says he holds very little XRP, and also videos of him at XRP Vegas when they announced Debunk talking against XRP tribalism and XRP maxiism. And then we hear that echoed again directly today by Brad Garlinghouse. I don't think that is some kind of coincidence. Why are they having these discussions now? I don't know. But again, I have been about XRP for the long view, about what I think it's going to be 5 to 10 years from now as the infrastructure continues to build out. So is there even a 1% chance of a 10K XRP? That was the question that David Schwartz was bringing up to people, saying that if there was a 1% chance and even a few people with a significant amount of money thought so, then XRP would be bid up to $20 right now. Again, this is David Schwartz telling you this, not me. Today at Consensus, again, Brad Garlinghouse echoing the statements on tribalism and adoption moving forward. This is going to take time. This is going to be a multi-year rollout, especially when we're talking about money and payments and how these institutions are going to transact moving forward. So the old narrative was centered on XRP. The old narrative for XRP was centered around tribalism, moonshot price targets, conspiracy theories, and a flip the switch mentality. That reality has been crushed. I've said it before, I've say it again. People will show you who they are and tell you who they want to be. And if someone tells you or shows you who they are, believe them the first time, right? They are telling you right now that utility and real usage is what's going to drive slower institutional adoption. But that is happening. Utility and real usage is ramping up. They are solving real problems, and they have built the institutional rails across the world. Institutional adoption, enterprises and financial institutions are actively building with Ripple. Regulatory clarity is around the corner, and the long-term infrastructure build-out has been put in place. Again, it's not the death of XRP, ladies and gentlemen. It's a change of mindset. Again, and I've said it since the beginning, I'm not a fan, not a believer of the $10,000 XRP or the domino theory, but I would happily love to be wrong as I sit on my stack of XRP eating my humble pie. So the community is completely divided, exactly what we were just talking about. Some people are praising the realism, thinking honestly, thankfully, we can talk about real use case and real adoption. However, the backlash and FUD are real. A lot of people saying that it's FUD, that they're trying to shake out XRP holders, that they're downplaying it, that they know something, that the switch is imminent. I'll let you make up your own mind on what side of this field you sit on. But again, this channel is about the long view. I am here for the long view approach to XRP and what it could mean to the community as the digital infrastructure moves forward. So the question is, hype versus reality. Which one are you going to follow going forward? Let me know in the chat. Hit the like button if you got some value from this, because that's the end, folks. That is all she wrote. And, you know, I actually do have a little bit more news that we can discuss real quick here. We don't need to discuss any more about David Schwartz, and we don't need to discuss any more about Brad Garlinghouse. We will hop into the chat and do the full Q&A breakdown just like we always do, and we can do a recap for anyone who came in late, but I'm not replaying the full 10-minute video. However, announcement yesterday, tokenization is moving from pilot to infrastructure. This is from Digital Asset. Yuval Ruse joins leaders from Franklin Templeton, eToro, Reserve One, and the U.S. Financial Services Subcommittee to discuss treasury, operations, custody, and liquidity management at an institutional scale. So again, Yuval Ruse being invited to the White House to discuss policy. For my XRP folks out there who asked how many meetings has Digital Asset been invited into, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Now, let's hop into the chat and see what everyone else has going today. Also, I do have one thing, if I can find my own posts here. I threw this out there, if I can find it. Where'd it go? Of course, I'm not finding it. Man, of course. Now it's not showing up. Anyway, I was working on a gosh, what's the word I'm looking for? Mascot. I was working on a mascot for the Canton Network. I came up with a Monopoly guy type thing here. Let me see here. Let me see if I can pull it up. Yeah, that guy. That's what I came up with when they were talking about they started talking about this on X. And again, you can follow me on X at Longview Crypto. But when they first started talking about this on X and they were talking about a mascot for the Canton Network, the first thing I thought of was the Monopoly guy. It just fits the Canton Network way too well. So I'm like, okay, what's a crypto version of the Monopoly guy? That's what I came up with. Let me know what you guys think in the chat, and we will hop into the full chat. Hopefully you guys are talking. Hopefully you guys are engaging. I'm sure you are. You always are. So let's hop into it and see what everyone's doing today. It's Tuesday. Donna Amber Barnes says, I will never sell. I'm holding my XRP. I ain't going nowhere. Let's see here. I'm going to end this poll, actually, and we'll see what everyone said when we get to it. So Donna says, I will never sell. Jarl says, clarity is done. Kind of. There's some pushback now by the banks about the language. We'll see. There's still some back and forth. It ain't there yet. But he says, happy day to everyone. Thank you for joining the channel today. Good morning, Raul. Welcome, sir. Soon, my friends, talking about XRP. Jarl says, XRP will never make you rich if you didn't buy at 9 cents. Don't hate me. I still have a small bag. We'll sell at $4. Daniel Green said hello to everybody today. Kelly in the house saying hello all. Still holding. Haven't heard the consensus comments before starting this live, so now I'm anxious. There you go. Now you have the word. Good morning, Longview fam. Welcome back, SVJ. Yows, everybody. What's going on? Or is that yows or yos? Is the chat paid? No, the chat's not paid. You guys just talk. It's not paid. The only way the chat is paid is if you guys give me a what's the word? Super chat. A super chat or a super like or any of those things. And remember, all the super chats, all the super likes go to help building the app and go to help growing the channel. Canton and XRP are working against each other. I disagree with you thinking XRP won't go high price. It will never reach over $1,000. Obviously, you haven't done deep dive on XRP. I've done plenty of deep dives on XRP, I assure you. I have a different opinion than the extremely high price XRP. That's just me. Everyone has their own way. I'm about the long view. So far, as this has been going, it seems to be going that direction, but everyone does their own research. I am not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Investments come with the risk of loss. But I'm not going to sit here and tell people XRP is going to $1,000 or $10,000. I will not do it. Just won't. Good afternoon from the Lou. Welcome from the Lou, Mr. Far Maximus. I'm long term and still accumulating. Me too. I still buy 10%. 10% of my income every month goes to my investments, be it the real world asset or the crypto side of it. Dustin Wright, I think Canton needs a reset on PR and let the partner Eric be more the face. Yuval is great, but has rubbed everyone the wrong way. Won't hurt in the long run, but retail could sure use the help. Honestly, Dustin, I really don't think they care about retail. Yuval said multiple times that he's more concerned about bringing on usage to drive the burn as opposed to retail buy volume. Like literally, I retweeted a couple things, but I mean, he said it multiple times. That is his goal, is to focus on bringing utility to drive the burn rate as opposed to focusing on retail. They do not care about retail. I actually did a post on X yesterday that roughly on average, and it's hard to tell because everything is private on the Canton network, but on average, the rough estimate is anywhere between 20 to 80,000 retail holders of Canton coin. So 20 to 80,000 retail holders of Canton coin. That's a wide range. But even if we take the 80,000 part of it, that's 0.0002% of the world holds Canton coin. 0.0002%. And I believe it was 0.001% of crypto holders actually hold Canton coin. So they don't care about retail. Retail is so minuscule on the Canton, like as far as retail coming in and buying, they don't care. William and Bonnie says, no, the chat is not paid. No, it is not. Snagged a bit more CC yesterday. Good for you, Mr. Soliev. Jake Claver, Maximus Crypto, 24-hour Crypto, Apex Crypto Insights have done deep dives, and they all say XRP will go to high prices. You know what? I would love to sit and talk to any one of them about it. Any one of them. I will gladly talk to them about it and poke holes in every single element of it. It's that simple. Because a lot of that is speculation, half-truths. A lot of, oh, I had this conversation with someone, but I can't tell you. I'm not here to pee in XRP community's Cheerios. I just have a different view of XRP. I'm here. I buy it. I view it as a long-term hold. But I will gladly sit with any one of those people and have a conversation about XRP. Please go back and look at my research in previous videos. Handler Joseph, XRP is Ripple liquidity that is being used to fund their business, and retail helped make that possible. It's unfortunate, but it's the facts. That is the other argument to the rule, or the other argument to the narrative that we talked about. Again, the narrative seems to split up into actually three people. I guess you have the people who feel like they were taken advantage of and that they're being screwed over. You have the people who have the long view mindset, and then you have the people who don't believe any of it. They still believe in the high price XRP and it's going to crazy numbers and that this is all a show. And that Brad and David Schwartz are lying to you to cover it up. I've heard things like, oh, they're saying that because they need plausible deniability. Come on, guys. You're smarter than that. You're smart. When people tell you who they are, believe them. When people show you who they are, believe them. Michael Watson, if all the crybabies had bought their XRP when the price was in the cents, they would all have reached millions by now. I mean, that's one way to look at it, but a lot of people didn't come into this space not too long ago, and I'm not dumping on the XRP community by any means. I love XRP, and I love my XRP community. What I'm dumping on is following a narrative blindly without doing true research and overlooking the speculative narratives, okay? Wishes and promises are not going to translate into money in your wallet. I'm sorry, it's not. And again, not financial advice. You should do your own research, but it's what I believe. Just join the channel. Love how and what you do. I am an OG in XRP, average 19 cents, who is now very heavy in Canton, just started aping into her. It's the MicroStrategy of hype. I actually saw into that, and this is a new member also, too. Michael, thank you for joining. To all my new members, last few weeks, we had several new members joining in. Again, members only live stream, members only hangout. We do a live hangout. We hop into a Zoom meeting. There's lots of intelligent people in the members. We have web designers, we have app developers, we have truck drivers. We've got all kinds of people in our members only live stream. And basically that's what it is. It's a community hangout discussing how to improve and get better and build not just the community in the channel, but ourselves. I mean, the community, it's number one, the channel community is freaking phenomenal to begin with, the Longview community in general. But what's happening in the membership community also is truly really special. It is a collection of people, man, ready to just grind and trying to improve and build. Oh my God, I love it, dude. It's like the energy is fantastic. Ander says, I agree. Or Jarl says, I agree with Ander. John Burnett, you are just a Canton maxi because you're involved with the Canton Network platform. Go back and watch my videos. I didn't get involved with Canton Network until about February. I've been involved with XRP ever since. So calling me a Canton maxi is just a little bit uninformed. Canton seems to be business-to-business liquidity payments, and XRP is more for cross-border payments and tokenization on-chain liquidity. I think you can own both, and both will succeed. I agree. Canton is privacy, real-world asset settlement. XRP is payments and liquidity, right? Canton's not focused on payments. They're focused on institutional settlement, where, again, XRP and XRPL can provide liquidity on the back end coming out of that DTCC pilot where we talked about yesterday. Again, go back and check yesterday's live stream. I have receipts and I don't pull down videos, guys. You're fully able to go back and look at everything I've said over the last 8 months since I've been doing this. Ripple is just diluting the XRP coin price while making money from institutions with OTC deals. Ripple's interledger doesn't use XRP ODL, is using RLUSD 50% of the time. 82% of Ripple's service doesn't include XRP. Well, again, okay, so you're a Canton holder, SVJ. Think about what Yuval was saying in regards to Canton Network. You have to ease these people in. The same argument can be made against the Canton Network with their private subnets and no burn happening on the subnet. Well, CC is not taking place in these actual institutional transactions, right? But we've talked to Yuval. He said they're working on the private subnet. It takes time because you can't push it on these institutions. Brad Garlinghouse just echoed the same damn thing about G Treasury. So I mean, we can't have one and not the other. We have to take them both evenly, right? We can't have one viewpoint on one and not the other. Again, I look at this from a business standpoint, and banks are just not going to move that fast. It takes time. They have to ramp up. Quadrillions of dollars of value. This is national security risk. Okay, it just doesn't happen immediately. Jarl Gertvik, correct. I make you right. Simple as that. Okay. Store around the corner. ADA and Cosmo near staked. Okay. 80% of RLUSD is on ETH. That's not true, SVJ. Look it up. Originally, yes, but then once they got it set up to where they could start minting it on the XRPL, majority of it started going to XRPL from that point. And again, having RLUSD on Ethereum is liquidity. Again, they need RLUSD to bring in the banks because the banks aren't ready to use crypto yet. We were just hearing Brad talk about that. Again, same concept as Yuval talking about not enforcing the burn on the private subnet yet until they work it out with their customers. They have to focus on the customer and what the customer wants, not what we, the crypto holder, want. No customers, no business, no crypto. That simple. XRPL will use stablecoins primarily and not XRP. But as more things go on chain, XRP usage will surge. XRP liquidity will be needed for those transactions. Again, XRP is a bridge. It needs things to swap between. If you're just moving things USD to USD, there's no need for a bridge. All of these things, okay, I mean, there's no need for a bridge until there's multiple assets on chain. And that's going to take time. That's just my opinion. Accumulating Zebek and Canton. Me too. Zebek, Canton, XRP, and Hyperliquid. My brain, stroke brain. RLUSD isn't a competitor to XRP. It's the liquidity lubricant that makes the flywheel go. I actually did a flywheel video a long time ago. You made me think of that. So yes, I agree with you. It's the onboard ramp. It's there. Okay. Everyone loved Tommy Boy. I love Tommy Boy. Okay, I'm going to do a skit that I used to do a while ago, but this is what a stable coin is. Everyone remembers Tommy Boy, okay? Everyone knows the US dollar is a piece of shit, okay? But banks, they want that guarantee. They need that guarantee to make them feel all warm and fuzzy inside. So they smack that guarantee and call it a stable coin. We all know it's a guaranteed piece of shit. It doesn't do anything different, but it makes them feel all warm and fuzzy. They're not going to buy Tommy Boy's product until we convince them otherwise. They have to learn over time. It's going to take a little bit. It's going to take a little bit for them to get their feet comfortable in the water before they start hanging out with XRP and things like that. My opinion, not financial advice. Do your own research. But all a stablecoin is, in Tommy Boy's words, is a guaranteed piece of shit to make the banks feel all warm and fuzzy inside, and tokenized deposits, those two, as opposed to using regular crypto, native crypto. Solana is my big player, fingers crossed. I'm fingers crossed for you, my friend. I'm very worried about Solana after everything that's happened with the DeFi hacks. So fingers crossed for you. I hope they recover from it. I am not a token holder of Solana. SVJ, we know you're a Bitcoin guy and is created in only wanting Bitcoin to succeed. He's not a Bitcoin guy. I thought SVJ also had Canton. I could be wrong on that. Anyway, XRP is a bridge asset. It bridges between currencies. Stablecoins need a bridge. There you go. Yeah, different stablecoins. Different stablecoins. Not just USD to USD. Different stablecoins. So like RL Yen to RL USD, RL Peso to RL USD, RL Franc to RL USD, whatever. We need more. RL Euro, tokenized deposit, whatever. We need different things to swap between to provide liquidity for. Because if we're just moving a stable coin, then that's literally just a Excel spreadsheet movement of a number. Really, there's nothing really moving. Tell it like it is. All those Bitcoin only folks downplaying XRP, old tech. Okay, I'm not saying it can't grow or do good. I make money from XRP by shorting it, but I still hold some from back in the day and sold at $3. Now I'm waiting for lower $1 prices to buy back. There you go. But even if it goes back to all-time high, it's still only a 2 to 3x. Agreed. XRP will not go under $1. You are delusional. I have my buy order set in $1.02 for XRP still to this day. SVJ, please continue to short. It'll go all out on your short position. It will only make the short squeezes sweeter. Hey, now everyone play nice, guys. We're here for the long view community. We're all cryptos are welcome, but the chat is blowing up. I love to see it. CC is a better return percent compared to XRP at current prices unless you're leveraging along. Okay. Give me a break. The price of XRP keeps dropping because Ripple keeps releasing the tokens every month. They released 1 billion last month and decided to recoup 700 million. Okay, this narrative has been around since 2017, buddy. This is not new news. Ripple escrow has been around forever. It has no implication on the price. Go back and look every single freaking month. I'm not even going to address that. Yep, and now the boss again say XRPL is the case. XRP is just a usage. Okay. Wake up, says Robert. I'd rather hold XRP than use a nonce coin like Bitcoin hyped and propped up by likes of Epstein. I wouldn't touch Bitcoin if you're trying to, okay. Nothing negative to XRP in that Brad conversation. There was nothing negative in my opinion either, but a lot of people are taking it out of context. That was the point, James. I'm not here to bash XRP. I'm an XRP holder. I believe in it for the long view. I don't agree with the $10,000 XRP narratives and the domino theories and that kind of stuff. The entire concept was to temper expectations. If you missed the beginning of the video, go back and rewatch it from the beginning. We're in the middle of the chat right now. I'm not going to replay a 10-minute video. But I wasn't bagging XRP. I was actually kind of trying to add some context to everything so we can all get on a level playing field. But that's my point, is that it just charges up people's emotions so quickly. I love the Bitcoin maxis on here. When price appreciation occurs, I know you guys will be nowhere to be found. But hey, if XRP does go under $1, I'll back up the truck and buy more. There you go. Is the Brad interview live now? It's over now. I played it at the very beginning. It was about 10 minutes long, so I can't replay it. I'll lose too many people, but please feel free to go back and watch it. It's right at the beginning. John Burnett says the founders of XRP Ripple don't even believe that. They have come out and said that straight up. Says a lot. They hardly hold XRP personally. Can you please do a deep dive on Internet Computer ICP? They have the biggest TAM of anything in the world. I'm taking a list of deep dive candidates. I have a list of about 10 right now that people want me to work through, and ICP is on that list. So I'm working through. For those of you new to the channel, those of you who may have missed yesterday's stream, every single Wednesday is going to be Deep Dive Wednesday, where we're learning about a new token. I'll do a full breakdown like I have with all of the tokens I hold. A lot of people really seem to like the retail influenced breakdown of what it actually means for retail. So I'm going to continue to do that on other tokens. What's up, Mr. View? We live. What's going on, Mr. Juan Castaneda? 5 years is not long in terms of business years. Well, I said 5 to 10 years. Starting as of 2025, keeping in mind that XRP was created, I believe, in 2012. So that's 20 years. That's plenty of time for a business cycle, my friend. XRP, XLM, HBAR, XDC, Flare, and IOTA. Jasmine, these are, in my opinion, going to make it. Okay. Again, I hold CC, XRP, Hyperliquid, and Zbek. I'm not a Bitcoin maxi, but it's the first crypto asset with global adoption compared to gold. I just believe Ripple, the company, is reaping all the money compared to actually giving the XRP value. Okay. Even if it takes 15, 20 years for XRP to hit 10K, my kids will be wealthy. All right. Why sell now? Maybe he knows something. Maybe. I have more CLM than XRP. Or XLM. I got you. Let's see. You guys are blowing this chat today. You guys are amazing. Let's keep it going. Let's see what everyone wants to talk about today. Also, I just trade the markets. Is David going to buy CC? Maybe. Maybe. I mean, I could see how a Ripple digital asset partnership could work. Am I crazy for that? Because I could truly see how a Ripple and digital asset partnership could work. And that would be dominant in the world of finance, with Ripple as the liquidity and digital asset as the privacy settlement. Oh my goodness. SVJ says, also, I just trade the markets, all short or long, depending on what the overall direction is heading and what the charts tell me. Okay. Ex-CTO, CTO Emeritus. The CTO is not a guy I put much credence in. He's the same guy who sold 40K Ethereum, took bites for $1 because he said Ethereum would never go beyond $1. R. Maximus. David Schwartz is the same guy who helped create Ethereum. Ethereum's doing very well. Permission Dex XLS81 went live on February 2026. Banks finally have a place to play. Doesn't involve Wild West of retail crypto. Well, they also have the Canton network as well, right? Private network built specifically for institutions, which they're permission dexed and they're permissioned side chains that they're building on XRP basically mimics the Canton network. I remember when Elon talked shit about Tesla stock, he complained the stock price was too high. With that being said, I take what David said with a grain of salt. That's a good point. And again, everyone do your own research. I am not here to tell you how to think or do. I'm just presenting my opinion. Bar Maximus, exactly. Okay. Bank and its partners join a permission domain. With that domain, they use automated market makers to provide liquidity. The permission DEX, absolutely. Every time cross-border payment hops through their pool, what you are describing is the global synchronizer on the Canton network. That's what you're describing. I'm not selling my XRP. I'm still accumulating XRP. David worked for the CIA. Head games are a part of their DNA. Okay. You would figure all these institutions onboarding to Canton that there would be enough that there were ready to be able to actually use the global synchronizers and move the price some. According to Yuval, they have a proposal in that they're working on, and they have to go through customer by customer, line by line, and make sure that the way they're putting that in doesn't basically bankrupt them and make it unaffordable or, for them to use the Canton network. It takes time, but they are actively working on it daily. That is per Yuval Ruse, the CEO of Digital Asset. David Schwartz also said there was less than 1% chance Ethereum would go beyond $199, and he sold his 49 Ethereum for $1 a piece. Absolutely, he did. William and Bonnie says this is not the news you want to hear. Well, most people don't, unfortunately. But I'm not here to tell people what they want to hear. I'm here to tell people what I think is actually happening. Where is Ethereum at now? 2K plus. I rest my case. Okay. XRP is at $1.40. I would love to see it go higher. I hold it, but I mean, where's XRP at right now? That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about Ethereum. We're talking about XRP's price. In his position, it's better to say something conservative, disparaging, than to say something that would manipulate price to go up. Also agree with that statement. No one knows the future, but you still take profits when the price is high and you hold a bag just in case. Thank you, SVJ, for logic and reason, my friend. Thank you, sir. 40K Ethereum. Dang, autocorrect. I got you. I knew what you meant. We're all friends here. We are just discussing crypto. I promise you I'm not offended. I ain't selling my XRP. I'm still here for the long view of XRP. It's not going anywhere. Jake Claver caught on mic stating he don't hate the player, hate the game. Jake knows the game. Hook them, reel them in, and exploit them. No comment. No comment on Mr. Jake Claver. Why don't you debate any of those that I named if you think XRP doesn't have a chance at hitting? None of them will talk to me. I'll gladly talk to any of them. My DMs are wide open. I'll talk to anybody. I am not scared at anybody to discuss my research and my beliefs. Not at all. Missed start. Crux. Real quickly, the start of it was David Schwartz came out and said, you know what? Let me just do this real quick recap for anyone who came in late. I'm not going to play the whole 10-minute interview with Brad. I'm just going to go through the slides for the people who came in late, and I'll blow through it in like 2 minutes. So stick with me. Keep engaging in the chat. I have nothing better to do today. So we're going to do this chat and this hangout until you guys are done. So keep it rolling. Let's take a look. Let me pull this up and we will discuss real quickly. So this morning, Consensus went live. Brad Garlinghouse did an interview on Consensus where he was echoing the anti-tribal behavior of the XRP army, saying that the XRP army should not be maxis, they should not be tribalist, kind of echoing exactly what David Schwartz got caught on video saying at XRP Vegas. However, that's not the only news that came out today. Well, last night, actually, or yesterday on May the 4th, David Schwartz sat down in an interview and stated that he holds very little XRP. He has less than 1 million XRP left right now. So my first thought was, how much XRP was he given at the start of Ripple? When this all rolled out, how many tokens was he given? The answer is 0. David Schwartz opted for Ripple stock instead of XRP, and he sold his Bitcoin to buy XRP. At his peak, he held 26 million XRP. However, in this interview, he stated he has since sold off and now holds less than 1 million XRP. He holds very little crypto as a whole, almost no Ethereum and almost no Bitcoin either. He believes that holding the stock is just better for him. But when we factor in everything that's happened recently, on April 23rd and 24th, he dismantled government conspiracy theories. On May 1st, he came out and said there's no magic switch. On May 2nd, he said we need to be realistic about what we're doing. We need to be realistic about adoption and the time it's going to take to do it. And then on May 4th, he comes out and reveals that he already sold most of his XRP. So what exactly happened? There's no conspiracy. There's no secret plan. There's no magic switch. We've also heard Brad Garlinghouse say there's no magic switch. We've also said that the tribalism is bad from both of these guys. He also said if there was even a 1% chance of a 10K XRP in the next decade, rational markets would price that in today and it'd be a $20 XRP. Now, granted, we've heard people talk about the 1% chance with Ethereum being over $199 and it's currently over $2,000, but I rest my case. This is what David Schwartz has been saying. Today at Consensus, Brad Garlinghouse was echoing this, creating a tempered view Earlier today at Consensus, Brad Garlinghouse echoed this with a tempered view on tribalism and adoption. He talked about the $13 trillion that G Treasury holds, and 0 of that is actually running through crypto. He expects that maybe 30% of that will be captured over the next 5 years and moving on crypto rails. His quote: "So why the shift? It's an old narrative. Crypto's growing up. Tribalism's dead. Moonshot price targets, conspiracy theories, and flip the switch mentality do not work in traditional finance and crypto. We need to think about it in a new way. I've said it since the beginning of the year. 2026 is going to be the year of interoperability and institutional adoption, but understanding and a tempered view of what that means, not some crazy price prediction moonshot theory. New reality today. Utility and real usage is what's going to drive price. Institutional adoption. Enterprises and financial institutions are actively building with Ripple. Regulatory clarity. There are clear rules of the road come out with the SEC and the CFTC, and we're trying to push the Clarity Act across the finish line. This is a long-term investment and a long-term infrastructure build-out. 5 to 10 years for a transition in financial markets. Not something that's going to happen like that, especially in regards to payments. But because of all of this that's been happening, it is dividing. We can see it actively in our chat that we've been going through today. It is dividing the crypto community and the XRP community. Some finally are praising this for being an honest utility over hype viewpoint of XRP. But there's a ton of other people that are viewing this as backlash and FUD, trying to shake people out or continuing the narratives. Something's being hidden or that they betrayed us. The point I'm wanting to bring up when I bring all of this to you guys is breaking down the hype versus breaking down the reality. We need to understand what's really moving forward with XRP. You're going to see a ton of narratives flying around over the next month or two, circling around the DTCC, circling around dominoes, and circling around, the Japanese carry trade or the reverse carry trade. I'm starting to see that float back up again. We've heard, how many times have we heard the same recycled narrative with a new timeline, guys? Please do your own research. Investments come with the risk of loss. Do your own due diligence. Try to look at things constructively. But that is the recap. So let's hop back into the chat and we will continue the chat until the chat is done. It's that simple. We'll go as long as you guys do. And I know you guys have been blowing it up. David flipped the XRP, not the switch. Call me crazy, but I feel like they don't say anything when they talk. Everyone tries to make their own conclusions, but Schwartz and Garlinghouse didn't really say much there. Well, I mean, he basically said we need to stop being tribal, that interoperability is going to be key. It's kind of a lot of the same things that we say here, Kelly. And a lot of times when I talk about this is because the narratives just get so blown up. We don't necessarily follow that narrative here, but the people coming into the channel and why you're seeing so many explosive chats and comments is because that is the narrative that circulates around the communities, unfortunately. Handler Joseph, you're mistaken. It's not much more than that. Did any of you sell XRP at $3 at least to take some profits? I did not, SVJ. I'm still holding mine. My average buy right now, I believe, is $1.43. People are victims of their own rabbit hole path. They decide to go down like the 10,000 XRP. Schwartz still has 1 million XRP, and Kenton maybe is working with Ripple. Wake the hell up. There you go. Larry Williams, flip the switch. Don't make sense. I don't think they can just artificially give it a high price if it's not getting any use, can they? I mean, why? Who would buy it and why if they put a high price on it? Max by 2030 at least. Okay. Jake is no match when it comes to hype. Michael Saylor and Tommy Lee are masters of hype. Tommy Lee is good. Flip the switch high price model makes sense, but so does slow grind upwards to utility growth model. Flip the switch makes the most sense, but I have no clue which will take place. MF Nielsen Co. Hi, Thomas here from Denmark. I am a holder and must say XRP has to be very expensive because of all the players who adopted this technology the world around. We'll see. It hasn't proven that way yet. Again, I'm an XRP holder, and if it does go to a super high price, then I'll happily be wrong. Oops, Canton. What are you talking about, Oops, Canton? I don't know what you're talking about there. Quality mascot. Scott, did you have Warren Buffett in mind when creating the mascot? No, I really didn't. I literally, when I was creating that mascot for the Canton Network, I literally was just like, Monopoly guy. It's the first thing that popped in my head was a crypto Monopoly guy. Got my CipherRock wallet yesterday, going to open it up today. Do you think institutional custody can get hacked like iTrust Capital? Institutional custody like iTrust Capital, they should have insurance measures in place if they're offering true institutional custody. So I would look into that, check iTrust, see what's insured. That's what I would ask in that question. Update. I am ordering a CipherRock wallet as well, but I also am working with Braun to get that set up with the app for Canton Network, for the Longview Crew app on the Canton Network. 1 million XRP left or just clickbait? David Schwartz has sold down to less than 1 million XRP. XTZ. Don't know about it. Hi, Thomas here from Denmark. I'm a holder of XRP. I feel like I already read that. Did I get mixed up or something? Oh, I read that one twice. I got you. FMJ, not in the near future. People are high. It's a good investment. However, it's not going to moon within the next few years. The math don't math on XRP. You have plenty of time to fill your bags. Dollar cost average into DCA is the way. We talk about dollar cost averaging on this channel. This channel is about the long view, about what crypto is going to be over the next 5 to 10 years, not what's going to be over the next 5 to 10 weeks, ladies and gentlemen. I dollar cost average in. I invest 10% of my income every single month. I split that evenly across my real world assets and my digital assets, 50-50. And then I have my 4 pillars of crypto that I invest in every single month, and that's XRP, Canton Network, Zebek, and Hyperliquid. Have anyone seen news on Sol yesterday? I will sell half of my Sol at 320. Solana's been getting beat up pretty bad. It hasn't been pretty for Solana out there. Are we supposed to read in David Schwartz interviews to be negative to us retailers? I really think he's trying to temper the expectations. He's really just trying to say this is a long-term investment, I believe. I can't tell people what to believe by his statements. Do you want to take them at face value? Do you want to think they're riddles? I am of the belief when people tell you or show you who they are, believe them the first time. He doesn't hold XRP. He's showing, well, he holds less than $1 million. He's sold from 26 million down to less than 1 million XRP. He's showing us with his actions what he's doing with XRP and what he thinks about XRP. And he's telling us what is with his words. That's one of the principles I live on in life. When people show you or tell you who they are, believe them the first time. Period. Has so many longtime big holders waiting to dump on you. Drug dealers like me in the community. There you go. Can you spell that token y'all keep talking about? Is spelled rise or something? Someone can put it in the chat for you, I'm sure. Exactly. Brazil was early with XRP, and they now blick and cross-border payments from XRP. I don't know what you're saying there. I know Brazil is heavily involved, as well as Africa, Asia, all within XRP. Farm Maximus. Love this. I love this Longview community. This Longview community is the best. We can all actually talk about shit and not get up in arms about every little thing. And the people who do get up in arms, they get bounced. You guys take care of that. It's freaking awesome. I DoorDash my DCA. Okay, there you go. You should short clip that Tommy Boy example. You like that one? Everyone loves my Tommy Boy example. Maybe I'll pull that out there for you guys. You've nailed it. Brad and David are definitely walking back on statements and hype talk they've been peddling over the last 3 to 5 years. I did not say they were peddling it. Other people were peddling it. They didn't say anything. Okay, they let it happen. As a business, I mean, you can't really blame them. That they're giving people are pumping up your stock or pumping up your price. You can't really blame them. But they didn't temper expectations back then. It certainly feels like they're tempering expectations now, at least from my standpoint. Everyone, we're going to do good. Use your head. $50. Let's go. James Francis, it wasn't trying to give an opposing viewpoint of yours, just my analysis of watching the Bride video. Okay, I got you. Nope. The bridge video, no worries. I am not offended, I assure you. For people holding Solana as well as Canton, Sol can be staked and the Braun wallet also. Yes, it can. So can Ethereum, so can Ton. I'm going to have a lot of information coming up on the Braun wallet once I get everything integrated for people. I want to make sure I have everything streamlined and smoothed out because I want to create the easiest experience for people. The last thing someone wants is to come in and have a bunch of problems setting up a wallet. They're never going to come back to the damn network. It's just how it goes. Don't get me wrong. If I were a bank, corporate, or company needing to move millions cross-border, I'd simply use RLUSD. As much as I love my XRP bag. Well, that's the thing is XRP is the default liquidity bridge when they have to swap. Remember they came out a while ago. I think it was the beginning of April or the end of March. I can't remember. They came out with a North Star playbook essentially for XRP where they described how it plugs into the center of every single element of their business. So specifically in cross-border payments, they have XRP set up as the neutral bridge for liquidity. It is the de facto, the designated, the automatic, the first one they go to. I forget what it is, but it's the first one they go to unless specified by the user or it is not the most affordable, right? If there's a better priced option for liquidity in that cross-border transaction, they'll go to that. However, XRP is the de facto default. That's the word I was looking for. XRP is the default liquidity bridge in that equation. Oh boy, Brad video. XRP and loan have a better chance of mooning before XRP. Or XPR and loan, okay. 2009. Obviously metal too, okay. Why ask about $10,000 for XRP? What about 50? What about 100? What can XRP actually get to price-wise? What about 589? I don't do price predictions anymore. I give up. I give up trying to talk about price. That nothing good can come from price. Period. Looking forward to your quant price prediction. I'm not going to give you a quant price prediction, but I'll give you my full breakdown of it. I'm going to try and lean away from price. Honestly. Scott, did you get rid of your Chainlink too? No, I hold my Chainlink. I just stopped buying more. It's just sitting in my moon bag now. I stopped adding the Chainlink, but I do hold a very large stack of it. In regards to it's probably still the number 3. Yeah, It's still the number 3 weight in my portfolio. But right now, the only 4 I'm buying are XRP, CC, Hyperliquid, and Zebek. I've looked into how much RLUSD is on ETH and XRPL, and all AIs and even Google research to 70 to 80% RLUSD still runs on Ethereum versus XRPL. I'll have to do some more research. The research I did showed as of I forget where it was. There was a protocol that went into effect, and as of that point, like all the RLUSD that was being minted from that point on was being minted on XRPL. So I'll do some more research. SVJ, it has been a while since I looked at it. Maybe it's changed. But the last I checked, it was about 50-50, and it was leaning like it was going heavily towards RLUSD. I have a big bag of Zebek, but I am concerned about something called Tempo. I've heard of them. Are they a direct competitor? No, I have to do more research into it to see if they're a direct competitor to Zebek. But I have heard of them. The thing a lot of people are concerned about are the no token chains, right? I believe I'm not sure if Tempo is one of them, but like there are a couple no token chains that are quite concerning. If XRP doesn't perform this time around, people will be pissed and full of regret, probably. You know who's actually going to be really pissed though? Honestly, more than that, if it pumps, 2 people will be more pissed. If it pumps to like $4 or $5 and people don't take profits and it falls, or the people who sold and then it pumps. Those are going to be the most pissed people. If it pumps again to $4 or $5, several people are going to take profits. You know, it'll be that way. It'll just be that way. I mean, with all that, why would anyone else sell? Just put AMM and earn fees. Yeah. People that bought XRP for 50 cents or less already won. All the crap I talk is about entering at the current price, or the people who entered in at the highs back in June, July of last year. Over 1 million, I think he says. Just over 1 million? I thought it was just under 1 million. What if nothing moves and we're all piling in our paychecks? Then that's a very bad day. But you know what? I got to go with my beliefs and my conviction. I'd rather go all in on my beliefs and my conviction and be wrong than stand on the sidelines and I would have been right. That's just how I live life. That's how I live life now. Anyway, I didn't used to live that way. Now I just jump the frick in, dude. There's no risk it, no biscuit. CC's at a 5.6 billion market cap. There is so much potential for appreciation. It's leading in adoption. I'd be inclined to agree with you. There's a reason I talk about CC on this channel daily, and there's also a reason I decided to build an app on the Canton network. EJ, myself, believe in the coins. They have a fair launch, so there's no rock pool. Okay. Since Canton going to move quadrillions, it should do more than ETH numbers. ETH don't do that amount. It depends on how the fees and the gas and all that stuff is lined up. And again, we don't know how it's going to play out. We haven't seen it yet. But the rollout for the pilot starts in July, and the full rollout's going to be in October. We're going to find out really soon what it's going to mean for crypto and for Canton and for XRP. Zebek is also far better entry on high returns over XRP. Okay. Tau, I'm steering clear of Tau after what just happened with their subnets. Tau is your only AI. I was trying to get into it and I backed away because literally the day after I said I was going to get into it is when all that crap went down with their largest customer. I have a feeling Hype is going to be one of those that will make a monster run and become a household name in crypto. It's got a very good chance. Arthur Haynes seems to like it, that's for sure. Raul says he's still buying. I'm still buying my XRP, 10% a month. Daniel Green says, come on, smash the like button. I appreciate that, Daniel. Yeah, if you guys smash the like button, hit the like button if you get some value from this. I mean, I don't know how many people we got here chatting, but if I answered your question, hit the like button at least. I'm working hard over here, guys. I talk to every single person. We stream Monday through Saturday at noon every single day. We do a full live Q&A every single day. The channel is about building a community centered around investing in crypto for the long term, for the long view. Not about daily price pumps. We cover the news. We cover all of the tokens, really, at this point. I love Tau, says Daniel Green. Yeshua Christ is King. Are we being played by Ripple? Some people think so, some people are not. I do not think so, but again, I've been a long-term investor and I believe in it for the long view. I never believed in the $10,000 XRP. World Series of Poker Me says, thank you. Crypto Dragon Emperor says, I'm late, but here. What's going on, long view? Oh my gosh, man. Am I ever going to get through this chat? You guys are killing me. First X. Okay. There's no magic switch. They're telling you stop believing the fairy tale narrative. Nothing good is built overnight. Block, sorry. Okay. Schwartz has the ability to buy Ripple shares. We don't. That's the difference. If I could, I would also buy shares over XRP, but we don't have that option. So would I, Kelly. So would I. I would definitely, if I had the option, I would totally buy Ripple shares over XRP. That Braun wallet, Caleb, has got me excited. Well done, Scott. Yeah, the Braun wallet collab is looking really exciting. I had a really good conversation with Mike over at Braun, one of the co-founders of Braun. I'm going to have him on the channel once we get everything set up. And so he can do a full demo for you guys to show you. But as far as safety, security, ease of use, it's so far it's the best option I've seen. So far, it's the best option I've seen. I'm really excited about it. To clarify, drug dealer meaning RPH graduate, St. Louis College of I got you. You do have to clarify. You have to get that College of Pharmacy there, because when you talk about St. Louis, I mean, even the St. Louis, if you put East St. Louis College of Pharmacy, it's still not happening. It's still not helping. Being someone from Kansas City, I have to take my shot at East St. Louis. More hopium for XRP. Yay! I wouldn't say today's hopium day. $1.50 is the end of the year for 2026. Has anyone asked Schwartz and Garlinghouse directly about price like we ask you or Claver? You can ask them directly about price, but legally they can't discuss price because that would make it a security of that would make XRP a security of Ripple. Ripple cannot have any direct impact on the price of XRP. Otherwise, that would delegate it a security of Ripple. So a CEO should never talk about the price of a token. They just shouldn't. All CC has hopium as part of its appeal. All CC has hopium as part of its appeal. I disagree with that statement. My issue with XRP is, do you really believe that people will use XRP as a bridge asset compared to just using a stablecoin? Anyone in another country can just pay with stablecoins without needing bridge. That's only if the recipient is willing to accept that form of payment. That's the same concept as cross-border payments as it stands right now. We have currency exchanges for a reason. XRP is just a bridge asset for a currency exchange. It was the original design. So you still have to do currency exchange when you're doing cross-border payments. Just because someone wants to send me $1 billion worth of yen, I don't want to receive $1 billion worth of yen. I want $1 billion worth of US dollars. You got to switch that for me. That's the purpose. So they can't send tokenized RL yen if I want to receive RL USD. They got to switch it. And then in order to switch it, they have to have liquidity to bridge that. That's the entire purpose of XRP. That's how it works on the back end. XRP is not the only bridge. No, XRP is not the only bridge, but riddle me this, Batman. Name another one that's better positioned with infrastructure over Ripple and XRP. That's my question. Any meme coin can do it. No, it cannot. Now you're just being silly. You got to have, now you're just being silly. Chainlink is a blue chip and will do well in the next crypto bull run. I think it definitely has potential. The tokenomics worry me on Chainlink. That's why I stopped buying it. I want to see some more proven tokenomics. Except ETH. ETH and its gas fees ain't going to do nothing for institutional finance till they fix that. He is correct. Ethereum holds nearly 80% of RLUSD due to deeper liquidity on Ethereum. I'm sure that will change as liquidity increases on the XRPL. The money, and we talk about this on the channel. I actually talked about this yesterday. The money is going to go where the liquidity is. The money, it's going to flow where the money is. It's going to flow where the liquidity is, period. Yeah, no way retail to get tempo. That's what scares me. Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of those. Won't moon to 100 or 10K, says Kodot. 192 people in the stream. Did we get over 200? Someone check for me. Did we get over 200? Well, I got in at 34 cents and got out at 320, and I knew it was coming. Well, that was a good investment for you. It's a 10x, my friend. He is the Lord Canton. Who's the Lord Canton? The mascot. The mascot's Lord Canton. I love it. Lord Canton, the mascot. Not Blick Block for my XRP. I got you. My bad. Lee Summit or Olathe? Miss Adams. Lee Summit or Olathe? Both. I went to Lee Summit High School and I went to Olathe South High School. I moved my senior year. But I don't live in either of those places now. I live out, I still live in the Kansas City area though, Miss Adams. I live out near Blue Springs. Listen to the CTO for grounded perspective so you don't get wrecked emotionally, financially. Build your own thesis on adoption metrics, not just screenshot. There you go. Holding Ripple shares over XRP is like holding a handful of cash over promises. Schwartz sold. It's over. Well, Scott, another Scott, I disagree with Casey. I don't know, man. I had y'all's pizza. It's terrible. Why don't you go get some emos and I'll get some barbecue and we can have a discussion. Your barbecue's terrible too in St. Louis. It just is. I don't know how you guys fell so far off the barbecue tree over there. Something went terribly wrong though. By David not owning much XRP but stock shares instead doesn't mean he doesn't believe in XRP. Ripple still has 30 billion plus XRP, so the stock is proxy if XRP wins. That's another option. Bar, Sui, and Ondo. Okay. You will soon learn BTC is king, says Dragonizable. Yes, but stores and even small businesses are letting customers pay them with stables, and then they just convert it to fiat if they want XRP. Okay, you're talking about stores and micro payments here in the United States. That's US dollar to US dollar. That's retail payment. That's the stuff that like Zebek is for and XLM is for. We're focused on institutional money. We're focusing on trillions and quadrillions and cross-border and repo and back-end settlement in the stock market, things like that. We're not talking about customers paying for McDonald's with XRP. That's not what we're discussing here. That will be stable coins. Maybe Ripple doesn't need retail anymore, so they're being more transparent. It's possible. It's very possible. I just want to say that you can stake Hyperliquid in the Braun wallet too. There you go. Thank you for a nice evening. You're very welcome, Jarl. And last but not least, say it ain't so. How much XRP does Larson have in wallets? How much would he be worth if XRP was at... Okay, I'm pretty sure Chris Larson sold most of his XRP to Evernorth. Quintillions. People think David wants retail out, but that's just an unreal illusion. I agree. Oh no, you didn't go there. I'll outsmoke you on any day of the week, KC dude. All I do is sauce the meat up to the high. I got you. We'll have to do, once this continues to grow, we'll have to do some kind of long view compute thing. Maybe like at Lake of the Ozarks. I mean, Missouri is very central in the country anyway. Maybe we'll do like a long view compute thing in a year as the channel grows. Have like a golf trip down at the Ozarks. Dude, you went to Olathe South. What year? I graduated from there. 2002. Thanks for the update and your insights. Have a good day, Longview fam. You too. You as well, SVJ. It's been a long one, man. We're going an hour and 23 minutes. We had almost 200 people in the stream. Judah has risen, made it in there. Longview Cookout. Columbia, Missouri is neutral territory. Yeah. I'm thinking about all of Longview, though. I'm thinking about, the people in the Northeast, the people in California, the people in Texas, like all of Longview Compute, not just you and me. Actually, I believe the center of the country is somewhere in Kansas, if I remember correctly. Let me see how many people are in the stream here. See if we can continue. Keep the chat going real quick. I've made it to the end, but if you guys throw some chats up there, we'll keep talking. Let me see how many people are in the chat or in the stream still. hanging on here. We finally made it through. 181 people left in the stream today. Man, look at that. We got up to as high as 202. I want to take a minute and thank everyone in the stream today. This was my first stream to reach over 200 live concurrent viewers. Thank you to all of you. I appreciate it. It's been amazing. My biggest stream to date, thanks to every single one of you. Channel has been fantastically growing. Again, members only live stream tomorrow night, Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Central Time. We actually do it as a Zoom call. I send out a Zoom invite. We have a meeting and we all talk and discuss. Okay. But that is all of the chat. We've made it through everything. Again, deep dive Wednesday tomorrow and whatever other news we get to come up with. And again, members only live stream tomorrow night as well. Beta codes for the Longview Crew app are going out at the end of the week. So make sure you guys hit subscribe. Make sure you guys hit the alarm notification so you get notified when I go live. We stream every single day, Monday through Saturday at noon. And what else? Make sure you hit the like button on your way out. If you guys are just now jumping in, I'm sorry. Catch the replay. I'll see you guys tomorrow at noon. Later.